This morning, men and women of the Syracuse Police Department, the United States Marshal's Office, the Fugitive Task Force, and the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office executed a series of 13 warrants charging various individuals with riot in first degree. That is a Class E felony punishable by up to 4 years in state prison. Basically, the allegations against these individuals, and I emphasize that they are only allegations at this point, they are all presumed innocent, that they engaged in tumultuous and violent conduct and intentionally and or recklessly caused a grave risk of causing public alarm. And in the course of such conduct, a person other than one of the participants suffered physical injury or substantial property damage occurred. That is the technical reading of the statute. Now, let me inform you what a painstaking investigation by the Syracuse Police Department has shown to have occurred on Father's Day of this year. There was a shootout involving multiple individuals. You guys have covered that extensively, so I know you're aware of the circumstances as to where it occurred. This was a large party that had developed. At least 37 gunshots were fired during the course of that evening. Syracuse police officer Kelsey Francimone responded and ran towards the shots fired. A large crowd dispersed as Officer Francimone responded to the area, and during the shootout, Officer Francimone discharged her service weapon. The grand jury investigation into whether or not that was a proper action by Officer Francimone is continuing, and I will not directly comment on that during the next couple of minutes. A, needless to say, chaotic scene erupted in the public housing area. Gary Porter was shot, and Officer Francimone requested medical treatment to assist him. The vast majority of people there were there to have a good time. There were a number of children there, and the vast majority of people there were not involved in some type of ridiculous gang turf war. While waiting for additional officers and paramedics to arrive, Officer Francimone was alone for a period of time at the scene, alone in the sense that she was the only law enforcement officer there. The crowd, including some of these defendants, surrounded Officer Francimone and attacked her. She was kicked, pushed to the ground, and people actually tried to rip off parts of her uniform and retrieve her service weapon. A large crowd gathered around the responding police officers, who came to the assistance of Officer Francimone, as well as the innocent civilians that were attempting to enjoy a nice summer evening. The crowd began shoving the officers, pulling on the officers' uniforms, demanding badge numbers, yelling in the officers' faces, spitting on police officers. A female sergeant responded to the scene and was surrounded by an angry crowd in the mistaken belief that she was Officer Francimone. That sergeant was attacked and was actually bit on the arm, causing physical injury to her. The crowd physically inhibited the responding police officers from rendering aid to injured individuals, including Gary Porter, who ultimately died from a gunshot wound. The disturbance continued throughout the night as the police officers attempted to secure the area and preserve what was a very large crime scene. Several objects were thrown at police officers, including but not limited to liquor bottles, rocks, trash, and actually parts of a bicycle. At one point, the police tape securing the scene was ripped down by the crowd. Several police officers were struck with rocks and bottles that were thrown at them as the crowd threatened to, quote, kill the police. Some told the officers that they also had guns, and many shouted, "Let it rain on the pigs." A number of officers sustained physical injury as a result of the riot that ensued after the shootout.